Evolution complete.
Now for something completely different. I love this recommendation from the donor Sebastian Newmayer. He gave me a few different options that I could go for here, but I thought this was the most interesting of the group he recommended. This is going to be BoxeR versus Seok from the 2004, I think, Blizzard Worldwide Invitational. So this is kind of like an exhibition match, a show match. And yeah, this is played 12 years ago, that's crazy. But as you can tell from your screen, BoxeR, one of the greatest Starcraft players of all time, is blindfolded. Now you might be asking yourself, why? Well, on the other side, his opponent is Seok, who is a blind Starcraft player. Blind from birth, he's never seen the Starcraft units. So the game, I guess, will never get old for him, because the graphics are in his imagination. Isn't that beautiful? I think it's beautiful. But Seok is as I said, completely blind StarCraft player. So the rules of this particular exhibition match are that BoxeR had to start this game, the first 3 minutes of this game, he had to play blindfolded. And after that, he did not have a minimap. So his minimap has been deactivated for this game. And he has to play the first 3 minutes blindfolded to kind of get an idea of how Seok plays. Because he is blind, he can't see any units at all, so he plays through sound. And you might be thinking that that's really, that sounds impossible, but it's actually not, because StarCraft kind of allows for that through its game design, through its sound design, because almost every unit, almost every building makes a noise. When you click on a building, it makes a specific noise. You click on a unit, it makes a specific noise. So as long as you can keep up with your hotkeys, hotkey your buildings, do the F1 keys to all the positions on the map, and you have to know the map very well, I'll tell you that right now. This map is Challenger, by the way, which I don't have a lot of experience on. And from watching the poo-tastic video quality on this, I have a feeling I'm not going to know much about it after this either. But what are you going to do? It's a video from 2004. This, I believe, predates YouTube. So that'll give you an idea of why there are only 3 pixels on the screen right now. But as you can see over the shoulder of Seok, he is starting to line up his hotkeys, his F1 keys. He's already hotkeyed his hatchery. He's already sent his drones to mine. Which I don't know if you've ever tried playing like this, like playing with a blindfold or your eyes closed. But I have. And the most difficult part is the beginning, trying to get your units mining, because if you're on like a 4-player map, or even a 2-player map, it's really hard to find the minerals around your hatchery, or as in BoxeR's case, your command center. He's trying his best. He's already hotkeyed his command center, so he's just trying to click around, get his SCVs to the minerals, but it is so difficult. So I know exactly what BoxeR is trying to go through here. Oh, he finds it right there. That's quicker than I remembered. I have seen this game before, but it's been a really long time, so I don't remember much about it at all. And you can tell, because all the units and buildings in this game are so noisy, you can tell when your units start to mine, because they make their little mining noise. So BoxeR just did a small celebration inside of his head. Yeah, he didn't jump out of his seat there, because he really has to concentrate right now to keep up mining in the early part of the game. Because Leeman here just started his spawning pool as BoxeR just started to mine, so BoxeR is already significantly behind in this game. Of course, he's not used to playing with a blindfold, but he did end up with his main race. Both guys went random at the beginning. I don't know if you caught that right before the countdown, but they both went random, and BoxeR ended up with his main race. I'm actually not sure who Leeman's main race is, or what Leeman's main race is, but it might be Zerg, because just the way he plays this game is incredibly impressive. Zerg, I don't think, is the hardest race to play without sight. I'm trying to think about this. The hardest race to play without sight was probably Protoss, just because of the amount of precision that's needed for like things like storms or even cannon positioning. Stuff like that would be really, really hard without some kind of sight. And you can tell that, BoxeR just took his blindfold off. We made it past the 3-minute mark, or whatever minute mark that they had at the very beginning. So he's allowed to take off his eye mask from this point. But it's already going to be incredibly difficult to fight off Li Min, because he already has Zerglings out. BoxeR has nothing. Nothing! He basically just started the game and there's Zerglings out in the field. So it's like a... be like a... beyond a 4-pool, like a 1-pool or something. Before like anything spawns, like a 0-pool. But here comes Li Min. He's already trying to take down that supply depot. And BoxeR, he really plays his heart out in this game, I'll tell you that. I won't tell you who wins, but... yeah, BoxeR gives Li Min the greatest Starcraft player, because I believe at this time BoxeR is pretty much the greatest Starcraft player. Nah, this might be a little bit after his reign, actually, because we're coming up on I Love UUV days, and we're in Nada days and whatnot. But BoxeR is still considered an incredibly, incredibly great Starcraft player at this time. I guess he would still be considered that. Legends never die. But you see the lair coming up for Li Min. He already had his Hydralisk in coming up, I think. I think that's what that was. But BoxeR trying his best to fight back with just the miners. And BoxeR actually playing this very smart, just running around, trying not to give Li Min any like audio cues of what's happening. Because Li Min, if there's not an attack sound, or a mining sound, or something to go by, any kind of sound, he doesn't know what's happening. Like, the Zergling is chasing around the SCV, but Li Min doesn't really know that. As far as Li Min is concerned, maybe the Zergling already took down the SCV, and he's in a spot where he wouldn't attack anything else. But BoxeR lifting off everything. Ah, you cheater. It's kind of easy in this game to get angry at BoxeR, just because all these sneaky, underhanded things he does to try to gain the upper hand in this game against a blind opponent. But really, I think it's brilliant, the way he played this. And he wanted to give Li Min the best challenge, because, you know, it's pretty rare that you're going to get a chance like this again to play the best StarCraft player ever on the main stage and get to show what you're worth as a completely blind player. But the Zerglings, looks like Li Min found out about that little trick from BoxeR, who tried to float over and mine from the left side. He's like, well, you know this map so well, how about I just trick you up a little bit? You'll go up there, you'll be like, where's the main? What happened to the main? And then be searching around the rest of the map for him, but Li Min caught on pretty quick there, I think. There's a Hydralisk Den from Li Min. So that was a hatchery, a second hatchery earlier, that I thought was a Hydra Den. Of course, this is 2004, kind of before everyone started refining their games, so even with the unusual start of this game and the way it looks right now, it would look unusual anyway. Just because, just look at the mineral placement here. That'll tell you that this was well before the game started to get refined for competitive play. It was being played competitively at this point, but, you know, wasn't quite fair. They hadn't made it fair with the maps. Maps are one of the most important part of the competitive scene, historically speaking, for StarCraft. As once they got those maps perfect, they could have like perfect race distribution for everything. Of course, it was never perfect. It's never going to be perfect, or it might not be perceived as perfect, because either the Terran players are doing really good or the Zerg players are doing really good. And there was a Protoss era. I remember commentating that. But those are pretty rare. But here comes Li Min. He's looking around the map right now, trying to find BoxeR, because BoxeR did lift off again, I believe. But luckily for Li Min, he seems to know Challenger like the back of his hand, because he has like all those rally-pointed areas are like where BoxeR might put his command center. So already, I am very, very impressed by how Li Min is able to juggle all of this. Because playing without sight is one thing. Juggling everything like mid and late game sounds like an absolute nightmare to me without graphics. But we'll see what Lee Min does. Lee Min going up with Zerglings. He's grouping up with some Zerglings. Has him kind of grouped up next to that lake. Zergling's going to go for a dip before they attack this base, I think. May have actually been a misclick from Lee Min. Maybe he meant to get it a little bit closer. Not sure. Like I said, I don't remember all the parts of this game. I remember a few of the little tricks that BoxeR comes up with. Like this. This is a good trick. I got a bunker right there. Some good SimCity, actually. For this early in the competitive Starcraft history, that's pretty good SimCity. Blocking out stuff. Before things became super refined. Near the end of my commentating, it's like you can only set your buildings one specific way if you want to be protected against an onslaught. Yep. Everyone clapping because BoxeR has been found out again. Lee Min, because of the attack sounds, knows exactly where BoxeR is, so he can just rally point all the rest of his Zerglings to this area. But BoxeR, being a Terran, can just keep repairing this bunker. If he has the minerals, he might not even have the minerals for it. But the bunker holding up for now. BoxeR got to get out of there, though. Loses everything, has to lift off everything again. So BoxeR basically restarting again. But he was pretty lucky to end up with his main race here. A race that can float off buildings. Because playing Protoss, what do you do if you're a Protoss in this situation? I think you just die. Because you can go out there, if you saved up 100 minerals, you can build another pylon, maybe hide some tech. But like another Nexus, you wouldn't have had 400 minerals at this point. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would be GG if BoxeR were any other race other than Terran. Because he can get his command center out of harm's way and just put it in a random spot. Because Lee Min, he can hide a Zergling at each location, but it would still be very difficult. Because something that BoxeR could do is just lure the Zergling away. I mean, if there is a Zergling trying to hide out, or Lurker, ooh, the Lurker would be more difficult. But yeah, you can easily lure a Zergling without any noise whatsoever with an SCV. Oh, did BoxeR float back to the spot he was mining at? Oh, I think he's floating back to that base, which is very, very smart. Because if you're Lee Min at this point, you're thinking, well, BoxeR, he's going to obviously try to find another place, a safe place. But BoxeR just floats right back to where he was attacked previously. Smart. BoxeR was always a thinking player. This was kind of the thinking era of the game before everyone started to refine their APM and mechanics. This was all about game plan. And I thought that BoxeR's game plan for this game was pretty great, actually. Here comes Zerglings trying to check the map. There's Lee Min typing a Yo Mama joke. So, I can't think of one on the spot. Dang it. I should have written one beforehand like I had before. But there are already lurkers out in the field, which is going to make it incredibly difficult for BoxeR since he's basically restarted this game twice. Just trying to restart his economy twice. So BoxeR already looking like, yeah, boy, this isn't going so great, is it? But he is mining. BoxeR is mining. In a very tricky little mind game location, which I appreciate. No, look at that big troop. That's only half the troop too, I think. I think Lee Min has some more moving down the map back to his main. Of course, he has to pretty much rally point everything to his hatchery here, as you can tell. Or just some hub where he can easily just go there with his hotkey, try to click around it, find the units, kind of hotkey them, get the whole army into position. Yeah, everyone's just moving back to the hatchery from this point. And I believe that he set a rally point to one of his minerals. Looking at his first-person view earlier in the game, I think he does have an F1 or an F key set to that. Which is just so much to deal with. I really don't know how he deals with this much. Because when I tried to play a game... Well, I didn't play blindfolded, I just kind of looked away from the screen. Although I guess I could have just turned the screen off. You're smart, Nuke. Yeah, once you get everything mining, once you get your miners going, it gets... I won't say easy. It's definitely not easy, but it's easier once you have an actual economy cooking. Because you don't even really have to pump more miners if you're playing someone else who's blindfolded as well. Because they're not going to know what to do. They're not going to be like Lee Min here. They're not going to have multiple miners going. It'll just be their initial 5, probably. Because you pump one, and after that, once you get past the miracle of being able to mine, you're like, okay, I'm mining, that's fine, I don't need any more miners. And you just build from that point on, which isn't as difficult. You see Lee Min here grouping up everything, and he has all of his overlords kind of grouped up into a group too. Oh man, what's he gonna do? What's Lee Min gonna do? I actually remember this part. Very, very impressive part of the game, but yeah, BoxeR, he's restarted this game like 3 times, so he's just up there doing nothing basically. Just trying to rebuild. As Lee Min has a massive mid-game army now. This would be impressive for any Zerg player at this stage in the game in 2004, I think. You see BoxeR, he's starting his 2 racks. Going to get a lot of Marines out into the field. Might not even need the medics since... Well, I guess there are lurkers out. I was going to say, since it's basically an all-Hydra army, you got all Zerglings there. You just throw them into the bunker and... yeah, just mow through them. But you would need the medics to kind of play aggressively and take it to Lee Min later in the game. But their overlords being loaded up. I can't even imagine how he did this. Because dropping with overlords anyway is an ordeal usually. Because they all, unless you like click on the overlord, click U, and then click back on the overlord so they start dropping as they're moving. They'll all kind of group up, and only 1 or 2 will be dropping in the middle, because the rest, they can't find a spot to drop. That's what happens if you have them all clumped up. But Lee Min able to fan out his overlords, and he's moving up to, I think, the island location on Challenger. I think that's where he thought BoxeR went. Although he didn't scout it first. I guess he didn't think he had time. But he's moving up here to, yeah, it is an island. So he's going to drop the island, thinking that BoxeR was trying to be sneaky, float over to the island. Which is smart thinking. I mean, there's a lot of smart thinking in this game. It's very impressive from both players. But has he dropped already? I think he did start dropping some Zerglings, like some test Zerglings at that location. Let's take a look at that again. It is difficult to tell with this barely definition video. Yeah, it's not HD. It's barely even D, guys. Barely definition. But lots of bunkers. This would be my strategy too. Just play defense while you get your economy cooking. Because Lee Min, as good as he is about getting mining units to the minerals, he'll never be able to be as good as someone who can like see the minerals, like BoxeR. Because BoxeR, I think, has significantly more miners at this point. Good SimCity to block everything, blocking for the bunkers, which will make it even more difficult for Lee Min, who is now going down. Is this an island too? This might be, well, these might not be islands, just because the waters around them. They might be like peninsulas in the map. I don't know much about Challenger, as I said. But he drops down there. He's like, oh, don't hear any attacking sounds. He has some lurkers strategically positioned. Oh, that's very smart. Up there, that 12 o'clock. Has that lurker up there to disrupt mining if BoxeR decides to expand. Very smart play. Man, now let's see. I don't think Lee Min has sent a unit up back to this position because he thought he cleaned it out. So BoxeR is trying to... Look how packed in BoxeR is. Just trying to fit all those buildings up there, get his economy cooking well enough that he can start moving out and expanding again. And some lurkers moving around the map. Lee Min, I think, is checking down at the 4 o'clock position. And BoxeR trying to expand up here away from the lurker. Oh, did the lurker move away? I think the lurker did move away from that 12 o'clock. Lee Min, he's going to bury the lurkers. He waits for the spine attack sound. If he doesn't hear it, he pops back up with those lurkers, moves about a foot, an in-game foot ahead, and then burrows them again. And the Zergling is running up the map. Yeah, at this point, I think he has basically checked every location except the last one he attacked. So he might be catching on at this point in the game, like, but what did BoxeR do? He went right back, didn't he? Because he's moving up here with his Zerglings. Kind of a small scouting force. And yep, he's going to hear the attack sounds. He hears, your units are under attack. So now he knows exactly where BoxeR is, and he can rally point everything to that location. BoxeR gotta be quaking in his boots a little bit, even with all the bunkers that he built and the great SimCity he has. Still would be very difficult once the lurkers come in. I think BoxeR knows that's why he's building more bunkers around his turret. He's gonna try his best to fight back those lurkers once they come into play. Because Lee Min, he has a few lurkers here picking at the front. But once he stops hearing the spine sound on those, he's going to go back to that hotkeyed group. He's going to be like, no more spine sounds, huh? He's going to pick them back up, try to move in a little bit closer. Because that's really all he can do. In mid to late game, I'd say is when it starts becoming incredibly difficult for a player who can't see. Because you can't do those pincer attacks that you need to do as a Zerg. We've all seen bad pincer attacks. It's when the Zerg is either too far away or waits too long to attack. But right now, Lee Min doing a pretty good job of blasting those turrets. But luckily for BoxeR, he did get a surround of SCVs to repair that one. So he was able to decimate the forces there. So not much more that Lee Min can do but just throw everything to the front and hope it breaks all of the buildings that BoxeR has built. The BoxeR playing this very well, very defensively, until he has an economy that allows him to move out and do a lot more. He has the 12 o'clock position, I think, mining from the weird spot to the right of it. But yeah, as I said, doing the pincer attacks with Zerg are well nigh impossible, I would say, without some kind of visual cue. Because just thinking back, now I just did the Zero versus Jangbi 4th set. Thinking back to the 5th set in that series, one of the main reasons for Zero's downfall is his bad positioning on his pincer attacks. He attacks too far away, or he waits too long, tries to wait for his defilers before his units burrow, before his lurkers burrow specifically. And you just have to be pretty darn precise with those to really get it done. But Lee Min morphing all of his lurkers at the front. Eggs are pretty powerful, but if you shoot the egg long enough, you can pop it. But Lee Min knows that BoxeR doesn't have nearly enough units to destroy all of these eggs, so he feels comfortable just morphing them right there where he knows where they are. Because if he morphs them out in the middle of the map, he won't know where they are at all. But burrows as soon as they pop. Oh, he unburrows that could be critical. That little split second of hesitation may have cost Lee Min. Loses all of his lurkers at the front. I don't actually remember that part, but yeah, that could have been his downfall here, because if he kept them burrowed, that could have gone a completely different way. Bringing it back to the pincer attack thing that I was just talking about, that little bit of hesitation and just getting that perfect positioning. If you hesitate just a second, the lurkers are really, they go down pretty quickly. Let's be honest. They're a pretty fragile unit, so you just gotta get them underground in the right place at the right time. And you saw that little hesitation just caused so much damage to his lurkers as they pop back out of the ground. And it takes a couple of seconds to get back down into the ground where you could attack again. So yeah. But Lee Min has really been rocking his economy here. He already has a lot more units on the ground. He's already expanded too down at the... No, has he expanded? Maybe he just kept his overlords down at that 8 o'clock position. I'm going to take a look at that again. I can't tell from the muddy mini-map on this. But expanding, I think, would be quite an ordeal if you can't see. You see Lee Min testing the water with some lurkers up here, trying to find an expansion from BoxeR. He may already know that BoxeR is up at the 12 o'clock. Oh, maybe not. He's already moving down with his lurkers after just testing the water a little bit up at that 12. But he has all those lurkers in one hotkeyed group. Let's go move them up. Ooh, maybe he does know that BoxeR's up here. He's just stopping. Doesn't hear the attack sound. Gonna go back up. Try to find. Doesn't hear the attack sound. Oh, he's a little bit slow on the uptake here. He might be working on his economy at the moment instead of focusing on attacking BoxeR. Because if he just pops back up and moved up just a little bit, he could just take down BoxeR's second base pretty easily. But now BoxeR has Medic and Marines out, which makes him quite a force against Lee Min, because Lee Min still has a bunch of Hydras out, which will be completely destroyed by this. Hydras don't last very long against Medic Marine at all. But oh man, those lurkers just lying in wait. Lee Min might think that he's already made it to the 12 o'clock. Ooh, interesting. He may think that he's gone up enough to be able to attack any mining units up there. But I don't know if Lee Min was paying attention to the middle. Unless BoxeR attacked those lurkers, he would not have had an audio cue unless he was focused on the middle and heard the spines attacking the Marines there. So it was actually pretty smart of BoxeR to just back off, not attack those at all. But he already has the siege tanks out, probably working on the siege upgrade, which will also make him very powerful. But yeah, the mid to late game, I don't know how you handle it if you can't see. Well, I guess he's playing one of the best Starcraft players ever, so I don't know how you handle it in general. BoxeR could play the whole game blindfolded and I would still lose. Seriously, I could just play just normally and I'd still lose to BoxeR playing blindfolded. He's just that good, people. At this time and even now, he could destroy everyone watching this video. That's how good he is. But oh, look at this, just sneaking in, trying to get as close as he possibly can to all the units before he makes a noise, just tiptoeing in there. But now he's going after the economy. And once you go after the economy and harass like this, yeah, Lee Min's whole economy just imploded there. And now BoxeR's trying to sneak his way back out so Lee Min doesn't know where he is. Yeah, I think Lee Min probably just typed FU in Korean because he knows that, well, what did you do? Where did you go? Now he can't find BoxeR. He knows where his bases are, but he can't find the troop out in the map. Because BoxeR's being so good about being stealthy and silent. And he's hanging around that 6 o'clock. He didn't even notice that. He just walked away a little bit so his troops would be safe, but now he can just run back and harass again if he wants. But the Zergling is kind of running into mash siege fire. Good defensive grid from BoxeR up at the 12 o'clock position. And he's melted the economy of Lee Min, so Lee Min is kind of running on fumes at this point in the game. Trying to do his best to fight BoxeR, but BoxeR is being smart, just moving ahead a little bit, attacking a little bit. Just trying to keep those units from doing the maximum damage by just staying still. Because if you keep moving, the Zerglings, they kind of stutter a bit, they hesitate a bit, and they're like, attack, what do I do? And then attack again. As a BoxeR, yeah, I gotta say, I was pretty impressed by BoxeR in this game. Like, I know he's playing a guy who's completely blind, so there's, like, no way that he can't win, basically. Well, he could have lost earlier in the game from kind of a... I guess it was a circling rush, in a sense. Those Zerglings got there well before BoxeR was ready for them, so he could have lost earlier in the game. But mid to late game, there's really no way he can lose against a player with this kind of handicap. But I was just generally impressed by his strategy in this game. I always liked the strategic players the best, which is why I was always a Stork fan. Stork is strategic in the same way, I think. Just came up with all these little different plans for all these little micro engagements. There's lurkers trying to get close enough, but with all the extra buildings here actually kind of hurt Lee Min, I think. Because as lurkers try to go down, lurkers are big units, so they might not even fit between some of those buildings. But he's trying to get the lurkers down close enough to play the defense, but he has no drones, I think. I don't think Lee Min has any drones. Now BoxeR moving in with, I think, his entire force to try to lock down this game, since Lee Min has no more mining left. And minimal defenses. Yep, surround of everything Lee Min had. So I think Lee Min is completely out of units, completely out of mining units. And here come the siege tanks, and that will wrap up the game. GG from Lee Min Seok, who put up one hell of a fight, I gotta say. Super impressive from Lee Min, being able to play with audio cues only. Nutty. Absolutely nutty. Good job, BoxeR. You beat a man who's handicapped. Oh, Lord. Okay, that was a fun one. Let's move on to another requested game.